Porto Venere in Italy is a magnet for cliff divers. In the 50s, a young man wowed the crowds with sensational dives. Now, 72, Alberto has decided to take one last leap. Porto Venere in northern Italy is a tiny Mediterranean village whose beauty and history have earned it UNESCO World Heritage status. Here, every year, hundreds of spectators scale the cliffs of the Gulf of Poets to watch a spectacular sea diving competition. The world's best divers meet at the top of the famous Byron's Cave for the Italian stage of the Cliff Diving World Tour. Over a dozen divers will be testing their nerves by jumping into the sea from a height of 30 meters. A few quick figures, then the hit, hard, violent, and especially decisive for the final victory. This extreme sport is reserved for a small elite. Free-falling 30 meters, the diver's body hits the water at a speed of almost 100 kilometers an hour. The body has to enter the water perfectly to avoid an accident. In this game, every mistake is a costly one. Porto Venere is therefore hosting a quite exceptional diving competition, and yet there was one competitor missing, local celebrity Alberto Vitti. Now aged 72 and still nicknamed the Fish, Alberto was the best diver in Porto Venere, a fact that no one here has forgotten. How are you, on form? Of course you are, always are. Alberto loves showing people where he achieved his exploits and stresses the fact that he is the granddaddy of all these daring divers. For the World Championship, they installed a platform up there in the greenery, but I invented this dive. I was the first ever to dive from up there. That's how they knew this was a good place for diving, and came here for their competitions. But for the Fish, memories are not enough, so he suddenly decides to do something a little more demonstrative. Yes, we're going to do something today. Let's see, from up there, and I'll dive there. The Fish has made up his mind. At 72, he will dive again. But he wants all his old pals there to see him do it. Vittorio, the old lifeguard, and Giuliana, the local historian, keeping memories alive.
Alberto Vitti, detto Nasello,
Alberto Vitti, the Fish as we call him, has always been at one with the water. He's grown up in it, lived, worked, and fought underwater. The sea is his dimension, and if you want to understand a man, you really need to know his world. And the Fish's world is one of impressive beauty and danger. Today, he's forgotten his age. Today, with his friends around him, he's decided to relive one more time the thrills of diving at Porto Venere. A first dive of about 8 meters under the slightly worried gaze of his friends, then a second dive of 13 meters, very dangerous as the rocks are only a meter under the surface. The Fish is happy and plays to the audience. He's rather proud of his performance, but there's something not quite right. The young professionals jumped from much higher up. So he makes a decision. At enormous risk, he will dive from at least 20 meters up. From that height, he knows that his weight will be more than doubled and that the impact speed will exceed 100 kilometers an hour. One false move, the slightest trajectory error, and his encounter with the water could prove fatal. At 72, a man's body no longer has the elasticity and strength to withstand such a collision. But nothing will stop him. He doesn't know the meaning of fear. He's done it! His friend Vittorio joins him in the water to make sure he's okay and to congratulate him. The Fish has won again, adding another chapter to the legend of Porto Venere. Come back next time, watch as we peel the guy off the ocean floor. Not really.